First off, we're in the South Pacific. This is Australia, this is Fiji, and the island of New Guinea has 2 parts.
Let's check it out. Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea.
Woo!
Finally!
Who's your papa? Yeah, well, it's been how long? Happy 2-week anniversary!
He's not my usual type of guy.
She's crazy, but I'm kind of crazy too, so it makes for a good match.
So do you trust him?
Okay, there he is. Michael Rockefeller.
He was captured by cannibals.
Maybe he's still alive.
Michael Clark Rockefeller.
Are we gonna do this or what?
I guarantee you, we go there, we find him, we film him, we interview him.
We can sell to the tabloids for at least $1 million.
$1 million, we divide it 4 ways. What's that? Alcoholic field adventure.
Journey! Let's get high.
Welcome to the jungle.
We're not on vacation. We have a plan, we need to stick to it.
She's eating her food.
Why do you say what's on your mind?
We're 5 days behind schedule because of them.
We're gonna take this up later.
Not as poison as your
Sailors, oh yeah, funny.
Why did you bring her?
Stay there!
We'll send you a Christmas card!
They took the map!
Coming straight at you!
You're not the ones being up here around with these grey sites up here, are you? If they catch you up there, if they'll kill you.
Seeing that? Are they aggressive?
It's got blood all over it.
Don't look.
What did they do?
Go, Bijou!
I'm going!
We're gonna die, go!
We're as fast as I can, move!
Hi and welcome to another film review. This time I'll be discussing the 2007 found footage horror Welcome to the Jungle, directed and written by Jonathan Hensleigh. The premise involves 2 young couples, one Australian and the other American, that set out to find Michael Rockefeller, the son of United States Vice President Nelson Rockefeller, who disappeared off Papua New Guinea in 1961. They hope to interview him on camera and make a profit from selling the story. Things, however, don't go according to plan, and Mandy, Colby, Bijou and Mikey come to regret their decision. The director was heavily influenced by Cannibal Holocaust and had always wanted to make a micro-budgeted picture. The film ended up costing around $300,000 and only had a production crew of between 7 to 9 people. Welcome to the Jungle was shot mostly in Fiji, as the scenery was apparently similar to Papua New Guinea, and some scenes were filmed back in America. Veronica Sywak as Bijou had more acting experience than Sandy Gardiner, who plays Mandy. Khaled Harris, who plays Colby, and Mikey, played by Nick Ritchie, were relatively new. Jonathan wrote a basic treatment of about 10 pages and got the actors to mostly improvise their dialogue. We start off in Suva, Fiji, where Mandy picks up her longtime friend Bijou, who has arrived from Australia. Then we are introduced to Mandy's boyfriend Colby at the beach, and Mikey, who we find working at a bar. Colby comes up with the idea of going to look for Michael Rockefeller, who went missing for over 40 years. Mikey knows a pilot who has some information that he was supposedly spotted in a village in the 1980s. At a private resort, they all agree to try and solve the mystery of whether Michael Rockefeller is still alive and where he might be. I liked how this whole idea of going on a mission to track Rockefeller down and film it as being a complete spur-of-the-moment decision, hastily thrown together. It fits in well with being that typically when you're young, they appeared in their 20s, you often act impulsively without thinking things through, and would see this as one big adventure, being totally naive and ignorant of any threats. This is further strengthened in that they are away from home and purely tourists in a foreign land. Before they travelled to southwest Papua New Guinea, Mandy is seen holding a ball from a pool table, and it happens to be the number 13. I didn't pay much attention to this first time round, but upon watching it again for this review, it was a good way of foreshadowing the doom that was to come. I liked how the movie shows us that not only are our characters facing the possibility of encountering man-eating cannibals along the way, but when they arrive in Port Moresby, the capital of Papua New Guinea, they are entering one of the most dangerous cities in the world due to high violent crime and theft. We are treated to some rather intense scenes, including Mikey getting into an altercation with some street locals, who then proceed to throw objects at their van as they try to flee, being shot at by a local gang who were attempting to attack and rob them, and having a lucky escape from a border guard while trying to cross over into the Indonesian-controlled part of the island. The film is quite impressive in terms of the large open setting. The characters are venturing into dense jungle and come across waterfalls and rivers. We see the mountains and ocean in the distance. A fair number of found footage movies only confine themselves to a single place. Although this is a horror movie, there were some elements of comedy sprinkled in that I found quite humorous, possibly to let the audience's guard down before the real terror begins. In one scene, the group is visited by a pair of missionaries, both husband and wife, that are trying to convert tribes to religion in the area. The missionaries ask them back to their tent for a chat to see if they can be influenced as well. Mikey jokingly says to the woman, "Are you coming on to me? And you look quite handsome, buddy," to the husband, and asking the missionaries to come back to their tent instead. The missionaries head back being freaked out by the conversation, and I thought that was quite funny. I found the relationship and dynamics between the two couples quite interesting. As they go deeper into their journey, conflict erupts when Colby and Mandy start fighting with Mikey and Bijou, who get annoyed at them for sleeping in late. Mikey and Bijou start drinking, smoking and dabbling in drugs. Colby and Mandy are more conservative in nature and are just not into that sort of lifestyle, but Mikey and Bijou see them as being boring and dull to be around. I was surprised at how Mandy and Bijou are supposed to be these two best friends, but end up saying some rather nasty things to one another. We find out that Mandy and Bijou used to have fun and party at Bondi Beach in the past, and asks Bijou about being in a band early in the film. I thought Mandy would know that Bijou is that sort of person, being a free spirit, and would be okay with that type of personality, but she comes to despise this. Also, Colby telling Mikey and Bijou that they have to be up at 6 a.m. in the morning came across as rather controlling. You know, not everyone would want to get up at that time. However, I had some sympathy when Mikey and Bijou take off in a raft down the river and end up taking their map, money and food. Welcome to the Jungle reveals to us that Westerners can be disrespectful or ignorant of culture, especially when it's not their own, or act in certain ways where they believe what they are doing is trivial or not a big deal. For example, Mikey takes a skull from a tribal gravesite when they're warned not to, which angers the cannibal tribe in question and causes the couples to be hunted. Although I would agree this certainly doesn't help matters, I still thought they would have been targeted anyway as a food source. There were some really frightening and chilling scenes that stood out to me in the second part of the film. For example, Mandy and Colby are tracking Bijou and Mikey after they've taken off in a raft, and then they come across a bloody piece of clothing and then discover to their horror Bijou's naked body displayed with a bamboo pole through the lower part of her head and coming out through her mouth. It's as if it's done purposely as a warning by the cannibals. Mandy and Colby are in panic, dismayed by what they are witnessing. The next eye-opening scene is when Mandy and Colby come across the missionaries who have now been murdered by the cannibals, body parts scattered about, and then finding Mikey lying on the ground, crying out in pain as half his body is gone. What really makes it an emotionally impactful moment is that Colby must shoot Mikey dead, as it's clear that he won't make it out alive, and to end his suffering. The gore effects are really well done, and I believed in what I was seeing. Mandy and Colby try to trek towards the coast in an effort to escape, but come across a village and are spotted by one of its members. However, is this a friendly tribe that will try to help them, or will they want to eat them? One small point I did want to bring up was Mikey picking up a handgun in Port Moresby to take with them. Now that was a sensible thing to do, as you're going into the jungle and you want to have some kind of weapon to try and defend yourself if you run into trouble. I've seen some found footage horror movies where people are going to see if they can find a particular creature or monster and they end up taking nothing. Overall, I thought this was a higher than average found footage horror. I picked this up for my Blu-ray horror collection, and this is one I've watched several times. Well, thanks very much for listening to my film review, and have a great day.